We've all been to the poetry readings, the deep and meaningful snooze readings, the readings where the poet pontificates about the trees and the flowers and the bees. And then we experience something new that jumps off the page with beat, something with intensity that brings emotion to the soul, something that moves and jives. Spoken word, the beat, hip-hop, jazz, dub, slam, slam, slam. So, there's 10 poets, 10 standing in a row, ready to compete for the title of the night and the chance to move on and join the slam team of the century. We have body, we have soul, we have heart, we have mind, we have all these things, one of a kind, one poet left standing, the winner.
Slam, by definition, Mark Smith in Chicago developed the slam in 1976. It's a competition between poets. The slam masters who are running it, they look at the people that are coming in. They try and pick 5 neutral people out of the crowd. Those 5 people will judge each poem that each poet does out of 10. And slam, you got to go out there and do your thing. You can't be one of those demure poets. You have to have some flair. You have to have some kind of hook. No costumes, no props. It's just you, your voice, and your presentation. And you got to wow the judges, and they will give the scores, and scores are final.
For the slam, we have a very special poet who is going to do a little set for us. You may have heard of her. She's a local sensation. She's the artistic director of the Calgary National Spoken Word Festival. She's directly behind me. Her name is Sherry D. Wilson. Please give it up.
Okay, I'll just do one poem because we have a lot of poets this evening. I was a dancer at the time. At the time, we called dancers bunheads because we all wore buns on our heads. And so this is a little tale about my transition from bunhead to bard. After a hard day of dancing, I'd pass the Bay Parkade every day. I'd drag my worn-out bunhead butt home to lucky number 3. My $75 a month room tomb with the shared yellowing bathroom. Silas, the concert pianist turned junkie, lived down the hall. After a hard day of dancing, I'd pass Chinatown, and I'd raid the dumpsters for tofu, and I'd buy a bag of fortune cookies for a broken moment of hooky from reality. Feeling like a disintegrating princess doll, castle walls caving in, tutu askew, and a slew of unsatisfactory fortunes in a bowl. After a hard day of dancing, I'd come home to lucky number 3, and I'd crack cookie after cookie, looking for the perfect fortune. And then I'd dream of being a writer one day. And then I'd take my towel and I'd go down the hall to the shared yellowing bathroom there, and I'd have a bath, and I'd laugh to myself. Because I could never spell. How could I be a writer? Unless I had a table to write on. Yes, a room of one's own. Yes. So the next day I went to the Sally Ann to look for a table to take away home to lucky number 3 to write on. I found the perfect one. Round, with flaps that swing down. I say to the Sally Ann man, this is my table, the perfect one for me, but there's no way I can get it home to lucky number 3. And the Sally Ann man says, well, why don't I tie it onto your back? You can carry it home, maybe write a poem or something. Seemed like a good idea at the time. He tied the ropes around my leotards and tights, and off I trudged, looking somewhat circus-like, oh, with a twist. By the time I got to the Bay Parkade, I started feeling the table's weight like Gregor in Kafka's Metamorphosis, and my bladder was in a slightly urgent state. By the time I got to lucky number 3, I thought I was going to break down and pee my leotards and tights all over the floor in front of my door. I reached for my keys desperately, and then, incredulously, I realized I'd locked myself out. Now, my worst nightmare kicks in, which takes this scene on another downward spin. The Sally Ann man tied the knots on the other side of the flaps, on the other side of my wooden wings, and there was no way I could reach them to untie the things. Now I was tied to my own table, and in a sense I was eternally trapped, strapped to my own muse, standing in front of lucky number 3 with the rising necessity to break down and pee. I went down the hallway to the shared yellowing bathroom there, and I ripped down my leotards and tights through the roped-up snare. And then I gyrated towards the toilet bowl, peeing all over myself, missing the hole. How could this be happening to me? I started to cry, and I heard myself yell down the hallway, why? I maneuvered my dad's gear back up, and now, with pee all over me, all I could think of was getting back to lucky number 3. By now, the table was just too much to hold, so I thought, I know, yes, just jump backward onto the tabletop for a rest. Yes, just jump backward, that would be best. Wait for something to happen, someone will help. Yes! But once on top, there was no way I could get back on my feet. And when my landlord finally found me, locked out, tied up, and smelling outhouse sweet, there was absolutely no way I could be discreet. After he released me from the table's ugly hold, he said, "If I could be so bold, how'd you like a date sometime?" I said, "I haven't the time. You see, I've got to set up my table in right. I've got to write to write. I've got to write to write. I've got to write." Yeah, dig.